Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. Well, DayZ has been out now for a few days on PlayStation 4 after finally arriving on the console, and I thought after giving it quite a bit of playtime I would give you some beginners tips and tricks, a bit of a guide for someone brand new starting out in the game, because this is quite an unforgiving game. So they are really quite basic tips, but hopefully they will help you on your way to getting started on DayZ. So the first tip I'm going to give you is loot everything and everywhere. You will see other gaming guides that will tell you to loot specific places to get the best loot. Well, I'm sorry, I've looted pretty much anywhere and everywhere, and I've found some pretty useful loot everywhere. So loot everything and everywhere is my first tip. The second tip is really big for DayZ, and that is you need to keep eating and drinking as regular as you can, and I'll talk a little bit more specifically about how to eat and drink a little bit later, but it's very important that you keep eating and drinking. So keep trying to find as many drinks as you can and as many items of food that you can, and keep eating and drinking all the time. The third tip is find a weapon as quickly as possible, and do not worry about guns early doors. Get used to your inventory fairly quickly. That arrow is your vicinity, that is what you've got in your hands, that arrow there. It's very hard inventory to get used to, and that arrow there points to what you have on you. So the top part there where that arrow is, that's the equipment, your equipment that you're wearing, and the ones underneath, so you can see there the hoodie, you've got a certain amount of pockets in your items of clothing. The hoodie's got 16 of 20 there, the jeans 6 has been filled out of 22. So just keep trying to find better clothing to improve your pocket space, and as quickly as you can you need to find a backpack. They're fairly easy to find in the game, backpacks, but find them, and that'll give you more inventory space. When you do come across one of the infected, to fight them hold left 2 and then right 2 to swing your weapon. As you can see there, I've got an axe that I found fairly early in the game. And always check the infected for supplies, because quite a lot of them will actually be carrying things. So you press your middle button to bring up the menu, and it will show you if they are carrying anything, and you will see right there where that arrow is, this infected was actually carrying a kind of tuna, I think it is. So head over there, pop that in your inventory. Very useful. So always check the infected. Now, to eat a canned item, certainly you need to combine it with a sharp object, as the arrows are showing there. That's the tin, and you press circle to combine it. Now, ideally you should be combining it with a knife, or a smaller object than an axe. But you can see there, right to open the can. Now, because I'm opening it with the axe, I will actually lose some of it, so it's better to do it with a knife, but I'm just showing you for an example there. So that can has now been opened, as you can see right there. So yeah, knives are better, you keep more of the contents, but it's now been opened as that, and it is now available to be eaten. So you need to pop it in your hands, and then you hold right to eat the contents of the can. So remember, canned objects, you need to open them with a sharp object and then eat the contents of the can. Now obviously you don't need to do all that. If it's just an apple or something like that you find in the world, you just pop it in your hand and hold right to eat it if it's an apple. But that's how you opened canned goods. Now then, here's some more tips. If you want to make rags, which you are going to need in the game to heal up if you bleed, you need to put a tool in your hand and then hold right to over items of clothing that you do not want or need, and it will turn them into rags, and you will need those rags to heal any bleeding, and I'll show you how to do that a bit later. Always check the vicinity for items, because sometimes you miss things on the shelf. So if you go up to a shelf, hold the center button, press the center button, and it'll bring up the menu there, and you could see what's in the vicinity right there on the left hand side where the arrow is. That shows you the vicinity right there. So make sure you check your vicinity when you're way around shelves and boxes, because you will miss things, because sometimes if it's small pieces of ammo you'll miss them. So you can see there the vicinity. There's some ammo there, and I would have missed that if I hadn't clicked the vicinity. Now ammo is only useful for the right weapon, which is why I said don't worry about weapons early doors, just worry about getting yourself a good crowbar or an axe or something. The next tip is always check the cars. As you saw there was something in that car. Always check the cars and open all the doors. I thought initially when I first started playing the game you could only open the boot, but no, you can open all the car doors, and quite a lot of the times there's things hiding in the back seats and things, so make sure you check all the cars and open all the doors. Now I'm going to show you how to heal up from bleeding. This is me killing a zombie, oh pardon me, infected. There you go, you can see just there, bottom right hand side, you can see I'm bleeding a little bit. So what you need to do in this scenario is put a rag in your hand, send it over to your hand, and then hold right to stop the bleeding. Very important that you've always got plenty of rags in your inventory. It will stop the bleeding. You can see there, now it's done it, the bleeding icon has gone. Now the next tip is glow sticks. They're fairly common to find and they're very useful at night, because believe me, night time in this game is properly night time. You can't see anything. So flashlights are excellent too, but they're a little bit harder to find and you need a battery with them. So glow sticks are very useful. Next tip is be careful how much you carry. As you can see there on the bottom left where the arrow's pointing, the more you carry the less stamina you have, so it'll make it a little bit more difficult to fight off the enemies, certainly using blunt objects and certainly running away from them. So just be wary of what you're carrying. Check all the clothes, as there may be items in pockets. You might see an item of clothing that you've no interest in wearing because it's not as good as the one you're already wearing, but make sure you check, because there may be things in the pockets. Now the next tip that we have is put items into the quick slot. Assign items, important items like your blunt object, your crowbar, sledgehammer, even food items. You assign them to the quick slot so that you can access them very quickly, and to access them you keep your finger on right one and then you just move up and click X on the item that you want to use in the quick slot. So there you go. Those are some really simple tips and tricks to get you started in DayZ. It's a very unforgiving game, and it is not an easy game to get on with. I'll be honest, I found it very difficult to figure out early doors when I was playing this game. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of getting used to your inventory and how to use your inventory, because it is not very well designed for the console. It takes an awful lot of getting used to, so take the time out early doors to get used to how your inventory works. Get used to using your quick slots, as I've just mentioned previously. Put your most useful items in your quick slot so you can access them easily, and then just use these basic tips that I've given you to get you through the early stages of the game, and you should do okay. So I really do hope you found these tips useful. These are just things I've picked up just from playing the game over the first few days of its release, and I hope you found them useful. If you did, please click the like button, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Thank you very much for watching, everybody.